Furnish.
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 Hotel or rent you a furnished place? Furnished place? Furnished place?
I came for the night because I wanted to see how you were.
I had no idea the place came furnished. Furnished. Furnished.
Have you lost what's left of your mind?
It is. 2 bedrooms, 2 bath. Furnished, furnished, furnished. $2,800 a month, but to be honest, if you gave me some time, I could probably get that down.
Your life as you know it is over. As we speak, your campaign headquarters are being furnished and staffed, and the Motz brothers have put $1 million into your political action.
I just got this new apartment, and I have very bad taste. It's a furnished apartment, and it's probably my first mistake.
Well, it depends on who furnished it.
I think maybe Richard Grieco.
We haven't met yet. Who? My former partner, Nancy, had apparently been furnishing you with certain items.
Where else would they be going?
Well, moving into a furnished place, so I'm just going to take what I need from my room, and the rest can be donated.
You've never furnished a home.
I have furnished a bunch of homes.
No, you've married a bunch of women who furnished a bunch of homes.
For what he's going to be furnishing, this deal is plenty fair.
And we'll discuss this together.
You saw what he sentenced me to? A room no better than a furnished coffin.
What about the roommate agreement? It specifically states that any changes in furnishing have to be approved by the furnishing committee.
I'm waiting on Ying. She's gonna break down and furnish the whole house.
Accommodation.
Accommodation. Accommodation. Accommodation.
Accommodation.
All new arrivals follow the yellow lights to your accommodation. 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 The yellow lights.
Here's my business. The Jasumians to be taken to more secure accommodation. Accommodation. Accommodation.
Bobby? These are improved accommodations. 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 This is improved.
The barracks over there, gonna be your accommodations.
Excuse me. But here I got men to watch my back, give me the finest accommodations. They're not putting you in that set. And yours is?
Briggs, I understand you're in need of a meal and accommodations, Mr. Briggs.
You're not on the official manifest, so the accommodations may be less than comfy.
I don't care.
I hope you find the accommodations acceptable.
You've done well for yourself.
Yeah, there are worse accommodations for a convicted felon. Can I get you something? Beer? Wine?
Testing our accommodations.
Kids. And I don't give a damn if you win a sweepstakes with a free trip with all accommodations.
There were some who advocated accommodation, who believed the enemy would only be enraged by outright rebellion.
Editor.
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 Russia 10 years ago. She's captain of the cross-country team, sports editor of the school paper.
Okay. What is it, Munchkin?
I want to be the editor of The New Yorker and the youngest freelance journalist to be published in the New York Times, LA Times, Boston Herald, and the Chicago Tribune.
Maybe I can take you with me one day. You could be my personal editor.
Well, look, that's my editor. What should I say?
So whose party is this anyway?
He's a big book editor and she's an interior designer. They know everybody.
Yes.
Some cabin somewhere where you write angry letters to the editor.
Diane Kreshmer, editor-in-chief at Ashmont Press.
This is strictly business. I'm throwing a party for an editor friend in from London. I thought you two should meet.
Paper woman?
I'm the new editor of The Independent. Yeah.
My editor wants me writing about the Flash and only the Flash.
Is that a bad thing?
Surplus.
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 Truth. We have a $3 billion surplus. Surplus.
Right? Can't be too many places that sell this stuff. Military surplus, fire and rescue gear.
Oh.
Not quite, but a friend at the FBI says a lot of the manufacturers are exceeding their allocations and selling the surplus off the books.
We had a big conference on the corn surplus.
You're kidding me.
You've got all the superficial trappings of a run, but there's people walking much faster than you. You're just expending a lot of surplus energy.
Well, I won't be. I'm heading out to Sam's Surplus, Highway 18 near the aqueduct.
I told you I'd take care of your problem, and I will, but it has to be done my way.
Highway 18, Sam's Surplus.
I found your boot prints. Army surplus, size 9.5.
Did you get the uniforms?
It's just none. It's all we could get from the surplus.
If he's a real deal, he could be an expeditionary force, or he could be some nut job who ransacked an army surplus store.
Swell.
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 Was that about the magazine job?
No, but Celeste. A swell came in last night. A swell came in last night. A swell came in last night. Northwest.
Go in there. Dude, you will have so much fun. Your family loves you. You can have a swell time. You can have a swell time. You can have a swell time. Fuck you.
God, I'm sorry, Paul. Were you sleeping? Should I come back later?
You know, boss, that would be swell. That would be swell. That would be swell. No.
What do you mean, time the waves?
To see if the swell is building or dropping.
Is they reach a certain age, they develop these gland things, their bodies swell up. They go crazy.
So the gang's all back together again. Ain't that swell? Long time? You boys look swell?
Wouldn't be.
To remain captain. And once the war, his men realize Mr. Singleton's limitations, we'll have a host of talented defectors eager to swell our ranks, and he only gets stronger.
Right. You tell us everything about that murderous friend of yours, and we'll tell the DA what a swell guy you are.
That's just swell. Barry's in a coma. He's already moved on.
Visual pain. My ankles tend to swell up like water balloons. Other than that, I feel fine. It's perfectly normal.
Grab. Grab. Grab.
Grab.
Grab.
Onto my neck. Grab onto my neck. Grab onto my neck. Don't let go.
Spotlight's that way.
Gotta grab something. Gotta grab something. Gotta grab something. I'll grab some beers. I'll grab some beers. I'll grab some beers.
But I suppose I could zip down and grab you another one.
Great, extra hot and 2 stevias. Oh, and while you're down there, would you mind dropping off my dry cleaning?
Hey, everybody, grab a glass. I just want to say to my best friend Brody, good luck in Hong Kong, man.
Tell me how you're all enjoying the feast. It's great. Grab a seat. Okay, I got him where I want him. I'm the dance over by the chalice. Viper grab it, then Crane grab Viper and take off. What about you? I'll distract them so that you guys can get out. Then...
Here we go. Okay, if anyone tries to grab you, you just pull the string, release the ballast, and let the wind whisk you off to safety. Right? Huh?
Emily, let's go grab a cup of coffee, okay?
Yes, why not do that? Thank you. Please go with them. Stay there.
Crazy cool, right?
How did you do that?
Grab my hand. Just give me a minute.
Yeah, me and Barry were actually gonna go grab lunch.
We were? Right, yeah. Duh.
Sounds like you're hungry. How about you and I grab some dinner?
I like you, kid.
Stimulate.
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 Pausing first to withdraw the fluid and then to inject the adrenaline to stimulate the heart, to stimulate the heart, to stimulate the heart and restore normal activity.
I find you a challenge. One that, in spite of all that you've done, continues to stimulate, stimulate, stimulate. Active, then it's just a matter of finding the frequency that will stimulate the language center, that will stimulate the language center, that will stimulate the language center.
Then the dreamer could speak. He could describe his dream.
Fetch. Maybe it's the word fetch that doesn't resonate. Perhaps retrieve will stimulate some long dormant instinct.
What is this?
This is the recovery room. This bath stimulates white blood cells and speed up the process.
So you're feeling better?
Yeah, much better. I've been doing a lot of running on the treadmill here to try and get in shape and stimulate serotonin.
I need a project. I do. I need something to keep me stimulated, to keep me exercised. Well, look, this is it.
I maintain several files of unsolved cases to keep me stimulated when interesting work fails to come in, and this is one of them.
Only effective in the final stage.
So, what is the treatment?
We have to stimulate the central nervous system, and we can do that.
If you're not sufficiently stimulated by this investigation, do us both a favor and ask for transfer.
Okay, I would not mind a little one-on-one session with Jenna Kay. The thought does stimulate my imagination, too.
Enthusiasm.
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 And when the doorbell rings, you feel a rush of enthusiasm, enthusiasm, enthusiasm.
Hello? So again, thank you. I hope this doesn't diminish your enthusiasm for the court system.
Is that because you encourage fans' enthusiasm for fights?
No, of course not.
Then why aren't you removing these fight videos?
Miss Meyer, I appreciate your enthusiasm, and the face. But I'm afraid it just won't work out.
Ladies and gentlemen, please resurrect your enthusiasm one final time for Wolfgang von Colt!
I'll do it.
I don't think so. I got it.
I like the enthusiasm, boys, but I don't let the guy who wants to carry the cash be in charge of carrying the cash.
Your enthusiasm is impressive. Wish I could say the same about your presentation.
How do you keep doing the same thing over and over with the same level of enthusiasm?
First off, be a decent, empathetic person.
A gesture that was met with measured enthusiasm.
Excitement.
I'm sorry, that was lack of sleep, not lack of enthusiasm. I was working on our project.
Are you going to ask me out?
No, but thank you for the enthusiasm.
I underestimated your enthusiasm.
Index.
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 Index. Index.
More importantly, crossed off the index.
Stupid man. The index. I should reconnect with some of them. Put her on the index. The index. Tag her like a shark.
Japan's Nikkei index after
Perfect.
20 years now.
That I crushed the Russell Small Cap Index by over 15.
The market was mixed with a small cap index.
Dragonetti finally produced the index of symbols.
I had to invade his office without his knowledge.
It races through an index of billions of web pages, all connected in a web of links.
Notes for book files, everything's intact. I've rechecked it a couple of times against our index files, and there's only one thing missing.
Lady, what do you got?
During the autopsy, I discovered that Eva's fingernail on her left index had been split down the middle.
I know it was you, Claire. You stole my index cards.
Ah, wow, look at all your ideas.
Honey, this is just the index. Ronaldo!
Emigrate.
Emigrate. Emigrate.
Emigrate.
Emigrate.
Imal Haj, born in Iraq in 1978. He immigrated to the U.S. in 06. He immigrated to the U.S. in 06. He immigrated to the U.S. in 06 and became a citizen 2 years ago.
Yermak Trigorin, 92-year-old former Russian Cossack. Emigrated to London in 1958. Emigrated to London in 1958. Emigrated to London in 1958. Made his fortune in manufacturing.
This guy, Dmitry Kolenkov, he immigrated to the U.S. in 03. He immigrated to the U.S. in 03. He immigrated to the U.S. in 03 and is rumored to be an enforcer for the Bratva.
In a suburb of San Diego. Her family immigrated from Russia 10 years ago.
Who never gave up on his people. His father had emigrated from Italy.
Fucked. She was 2 weeks late when her parents emigrated to Normandy. I never heard from her again.
That second signature right there.
The attending physician, Mihail Yurevich, emigrated to the U.S. in 2008, attained U.S. citizenship 2 years later.
You emigrate from a non-extradition country, probably where your head when it hits the fan.
What are you doing here?
Luke has agreed to handle your move. I helped his relatives emigrate from Guadeloupe many years ago, and in return he assists me with matters which require physical labor.
I think so. The rabbi before me, Mizell, he brought it over with several other artifacts when he immigrated from Moravia.
Loyalty. Loyalty.
Loyalty. Loyalty. Loyalty.
I'm promoting you to full lieutenant. For your valor, for your loyalty, for your loyalty, for your loyalty.
Now, there's only one thing I value in this world, Stephen, and that's loyalty, loyalty, loyalty.
Education, physical fitness, but above all, loyalty, loyalty, loyalty.
He built it. The war machine.
And he doesn't question your loyalty.
I'm gonna do whatever I gotta do to prove that my loyalty is to this town!
He may be erratic, but don't underestimate his loyalty to his brother.
What if we solve both problems at once? By right of birth and blood, I do this day lay claim to the Iron Throne of Westeros. Let all true men declare their loyalty.
It's to the throne, then, Cersei's children.
Joffrey is my king. The rest doesn't interest me.
I appreciate your loyalty.
Not your concern.
If you take King's Landing with her by your side, the victory will be hers.
I never thought I'd have reason to doubt your loyalty. Was I wrong?
There. There are worse crimes on earth than loyalty.
Ben, that one tortured me. And others he executed.
Well, he had to do that so they wouldn't question his loyalty, so he could get in, gain access to their battle plans, and most...
For whatever it's worth, I did bring up your loyalty and how good you are at your job, not that he needed me to remind him.
Need it one day. For you. To prove my loyalty.
You told her I'd hardly call that loyalty.
Fee.
Fee.
Fee. Fee.
Fee.
Pay me my fucking kill fee then.
What kill fee? What kill fee? What kill fee? You know very well kill fee's paid when I'm the one who cancels.
Okay. This guy's fee is $125. This guy's fee is $125. This guy's fee is $125.
I paid a finder's fee of 50 ducats.
Online gaming. I steer traffic to the website, they pay me a commission, hands off, arm's length. I get a small fee for each player I sign up.
4 points. Better immunity language, more access to intelligence. This fee structure is unacceptable.
Just spell it. Are you fucking delusional?
Listen, I'm gonna finish this night with Karos, collect my fee, and then hit restart.
Boy. Great job. By the way, I was looking at the fee structure, and I feel like there's a real opportunity.
We have to prove to our client that what you're stealing is worth the fee we're asking.
Of course. How so? I get a 1% finder's fee for recovering stolen objects. I want that fist.
Clyde and I plan to turn in the gold and collect the finder's fee from the treasury.
Finder's fee for you, of course.
Divorce. Divorce.
Divorce.
Divorce.
Divorce.
Our connection must be severed. I'm going to divorce your sister.
Divorce. Divorce. Divorce.
Just tell me the fucking truth. Why did you divorce me? Why did you divorce me? Divorce me. Divorce me.
You want the truth?
Yes.
I'll tell you the truth.
He never mentioned that he was married before. When did you divorce? Divorce. Divorce. We didn't.
There's 1,000 reasons why I can't marry you.
Name me one!
My divorce isn't finalized.
We can get a divorce in a year without the government crawling all over us.
Signed as a security detail. Before I left the States, Cameron and I were already halfway through divorce proceedings. Yeah, technically we were married, but we weren't a couple.
Last time you spoke with her?
Over the weekend.
She was in the middle of a divorce case.
Please. Divorce is an extreme reaction.
A few times.
Really?
Michael had to divorce her. But he still felt guilty. Husbands ago.
Well, you are more beautiful than ever. Divorce agrees with you.
That's why I keep doing it. Now.
And now I'm doing it again to Beth. She's probably gonna divorce me, but at least I can be around for the boys.
I don't like it.
Baby, I wouldn't read too much into this. Divorce makes people act crazy.
Hazard. Hazard.
Hazard.
Hazard.
Hazard.
And like that might put you in harm's way.
Occupational hazard. Occupational hazard. Occupational hazard. I think that my date is on his way back and you should leave.
Not until we figure this out. Call for your dinner.
Persistent.
Professional hazard. Professional hazard. Professional hazard.
You don't want that tree. Why would you buy this? That isn't even real. Oh, that smells like a fire hazard. A fire hazard. A fire hazard. These are.
Then you got a lumpy rug. Creates a tripping hazard. You open yourself up to lawsuits. Boy, you can go a really long time without blinking.
And there was weeds and clutter, and they said it was a risk and a safety hazard, and so they...
Trust me. Fucking right I am.
And I'm kind of turned on right now. You make a good case for hazard pay. How much you want?
Do you have any idea why I pulled over?
Yes. I parked my vehicle illegally in the middle of the road, which causes the same safety hazard as leaving a vehicle unoccupied.
Because the lion's share is going to our hero. Consider it unofficial hazard pay.
Come on. It's a pest. Deer are a hazard. They carry ticks. They're overpopulated. You don't take the shot, I will.
Hazard of the profession.
Yeah, sure. Another time.
The feds took away my hazard pay.
Fade.
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 Will fade. The romance will fade. The romance will fade.
I watched the life of this man's good man fade away, fade away, fade away, because he was trying to help someone.
Hello, you look nice. Ah, just keep laughing. Looks fade. Looks fade. Looks fade. I'm afraid with her gone, our friendship will fade. Afraid with her gone, our friendship will fade.
Just fade away.
Guess you don't have the stones to play? How about this? I'll fade your action.
You know, like when we're making love. And while we're doing it, all the bullshit does fade away. Some ways you'll be doing me a big favor.
Nah. I think I'll just fade into the shadows.
You, everything you've accomplished, will fade from memory, whereas our victory will be lionized for centuries.
The pain will fade.
It's better to burn bright than slowly fade away like you. Like what?
Beer.
Beer. Beer.
Beer.
Beer.
It's what partners do, right?
Come on. Let's go get a beer. Beer. I'm buying. Cool.
You'll have no choice but offer me a beer.
Next time, I won't miss. You have any idea what time it is?
Thanks for saving Kadir's ass. You owe me a beer. You owe me a beer. You owe me a beer.
I will never speak to or look at ever. Gonna grab a booth.
Beer?
Thanks.
It's okay.
Well, if it's not too much trouble, could I get a beer?
Sure.
Billy says that Hartley and Hunter keep drinking all of his beer.
Not surprised to hear that.
Ice cold beer.
Truffle fries.
Steak, medium rare, and another ice cold beer.
Mm-hmm. Wine. Ugh, I'd kill for a glass of wine.
Your brain must be a miserable place. I need a beer.
Yeah.
Is there any beer in this office?
What?
I have never known a Navy man who couldn't find a lady a beer.
Yeah.
I didn't claim anything. I didn't come here for a job. I came for a beer. Peter's got a big mouth.
Reform. 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 Reform.
Reform.
The criminal justice system has made every attempt to reform you, to reform you, to reform you.
Cells get together, take on one form, deform, reform, deform, reform, deform, reform. Makes no difference, it's all the same.
Everyone applauded his reforms, 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 nobles and commoners alike.
All they had was a deep desire to reform the government and have free elections.
This question is for the congressman. Why have you consistently voted against campaign finance reform?
He mentioned he spent time in a reform school when he was a kid.
Dwayne has made a genuine effort to reform himself.
And Juliet.
Well, Jane did have a thing for reforming bad boys.
Yeah, but Asian gangs yearn for life. There's no walking away.
Please don't mention this to my father or my grandmother. One whiff of reform and she hears the rattle of the guillotine.
Of the brain.
Okay, wait a minute. You're saying that somebody's trying to reform troubled kids by messing with their brain?
Correctional facility. At age 14, he spent 2 years at the Wailea Reform School for Boys after committing multiple burglaries.
Got to be reasonable. This isn't the great debate. It's about passing meaningful reform.
Curious. Curious.
Curious. Curious.
Curious.
This is good.
So I'm just curious about what happens at the purity ball tonight.
You slept with my mother. You're capable of it. I was mildly curious.
She looked like a young Debbie Harry. I was drunk and curious. I just couldn't.
You did stop looking. Yeah. After about an hour. Okay. Well, it's perfectly normal to be curious about these things.
It is curious.
Like a mafia social club?
Yeah, the Italian social club out on Union Avenue. I was curious, you know? So I...
We got your lab results back today, Ethan. I was actually pretty curious myself. And as it turns out, looks like the treatment's having a positive effect on you.
The last thing she delivered was me, and I'm still cleaning up that mess. Aren't you at least curious what she sent? Unless it's a brand new childhood, I'm not interested.
Come, I've heard you're such a clever man. I'm curious why you've sought me out.
Yeah, why am I here?
What?
You pushed to have me back. I am curious why, because you don't seem to want me here.
Must be a curious tale.
What?
Well, how a knight of the round table ended up a sword for hire.
We were just told to plug it in. They would take care of the rest, but I've always been the curious type.
So, who's this new Renee? I'm curious.
Section. Section.
Section. Section.
Section.
I don't care if it's a smoking section. The smoking section. The smoking section. All right? She directed it right in my face, man.
Please get the diapers and get out of here. Fine, but I want to stop by the wine section first.
Wait. There's a wine section? The wine section? The wine section?
Why are you in the masonry section? I've never been tested.
Okay, you just need to finish filling out this section here.
Started last night, around midnight. The first explosions tore open the entire medical section.
Because of its location in the midsection of the brainstem, it makes it very difficult.
I work, I babysit, I work, I babysit.
Hold on a second, I just have to tune up the string section.
So get you started. And over here we've got the food section. Hey, Mrs. Rappaport, nice to see you.
Name right, but I'm not agency. I'm an FSO in the political section.
Bullshit.
These are the last sections, ma'am.
As well. Closing off this section of the floor for very sensitive surgery.
Ample.
Ample. Ample.
Ample.
Ample.
I'm sure Caitlin and I will provide ample support, Perry.
And I will be happy to sit this one out.
Instead, I paid a visit to the fairies. Or rather, a visit to the ample supply of magic. Ample supply of magic. Ample supply of magic.
I promise there will be ample time to go over the information you have prepared. But...
He had ample opportunity to do us real damage, and he didn't.
Well, I know enough to know that Okie retard had ample long time in that bathroom with little old me before your ass showed up.
I wouldn't jeopardize such a valuable asset as yourself without ample reason.
To show your photograph around the bar. There was an ample selection of snapshots to choose from on your profile. We opted against.
So Jarvis would have had ample opportunity to tamper with the smoker.
Seems like a man worth.
Burned beyond any recognition, with ample evidence that Oliver and Thea Queen had been killed in some horrible accident.
Exposure. Exposure.
Exposure. Exposure. Exposure.
Even if everything goes without a hitch, the hunter would die from exposure before relief arrives.
We all have them in case of exposure. In case of exposure. In case of exposure. Would you like to see the exit wound?
Exactly. That will ensure maximum exposure of talent to press.
There's no way I can have this kind of exposure. I can't cover for you anymore.
And got 2 tickets for indecent exposure.
Science.
It's not wishful thinking. One second fine, the next bang isn't how exposure to radiation presents.
On the copycat Archer, instead of the undertaking as for our collateral damage, I had to limit our exposure.
I see.
People showing symptoms.
Well, maybe exposure was selective. The count contaminated something that only certain people like you and Donna consume.
You would never risk the exposure.
You're right.
It's consistent with exposure to poison gas.
Warning. Tachyon output has passed acceptable tolerance range. Continued exposure is not recommended.
Standpoint.
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 Standpoint. Standpoint.
Reevaluate what we have from the standpoint of everything was done on purpose.
From a military standpoint, Lexi's a known threat that should be eliminated.
Now, maybe that doesn't play well from a public relations standpoint, but from a public safety standpoint, a Bruzy and a Polskus were by the book.
5 billion of us, we're like ants. I mean, do we care what ants do? You know, from a moral standpoint.
From a budgetary standpoint, I don't see how Mr. Wayland has enough to offer us that would warrant sponsorship or anything of the sort.
And then that allows us to overlay the 2 camera systems, if you imagine, from a physical standpoint.
So you like this?
Look, I'm a numbers guy. You're the artist, Ray. You know, from a financial standpoint, I like it. Yes, I like it very much.
I'm scared, Hal. And Paula said the reason Howard is leaving Global Innovations is that he's not comfortable with, some of the business practices from a legal standpoint.
God allows evil to exist because of free will. From the Christian standpoint, God tolerates evil in this world on a temporary basis, so that one day those who choose to love him freely...
Everything okay?
Evidently Tuesday and Thursday look the same from a lip reading standpoint.
I'm sorry, but from a forensic linguistic standpoint, these threats are quite fascinating.
Upon reflection, it's just as well. From a storytelling standpoint, I mean, do not let this guy poke you, then the acupuncturist stabs her with a giant needle. It's just...
Beggar.
Beggar. Beggar. Beggar. Beggar.
The next thing I know, you're going to be asking me to high five.
Leo, do you want help or not? Beggars can't be choosers.
Right. Sorry.
Like a
starving beggar who's been given food. I am happy. No.
It's yours.
$30,000? What am I? Do I look like a beggar?
Getting to go home? Cakes and puddings? Lucky beggars. Still, we'll have a nice time.
You always say that. Lucky beggars. You always say that.
Who lack not virtue, no, nor power, but that which we have given to beggars.
Well, no more.
No more words, we beseech you.
Who are you to speak to me?
Who am I? Beggar.
Arrest every gypsy in Provence, and every beggar, and every man without a wife and family!
So what will it be? Beggars under an old captain.
Yesterday, Captain Hornigold was immovable from that fault, and Captain Vane was a beggar.
Poverty was unimaginable.
Streets filled with beggars, children running around in tatters.
You're not eating shrimp for Thanksgiving. Beggars can't be choosers, bro.
Actually, they can. I have a contingency plan.
Barrel.
Barrel. Barrel. Barrel.
Battle.
Waiting for us at the next station. We need to jump in. And do what? Hide under a barrel? Barrel?
What? You heard. You can't even get us a single barrel.
Who said anything about barrels? Barrels. I'm talking about an ocean of the stuff.
7 barrels worth.
7 barrels? When you say barrels, you mean barrels?
Barrels, man. You know, plastic, black, 55-gallon type.
Even by cop standards, this is sloppy. And the other barrels, they have trackers on the outside too?
I don't know. Probably.
You didn't check any of the other barrels?
No. That's the only one we could have taken, according to her. You know, once we spotted it, she freaked out. I put the barrel back, and we FO'd.
Sorry?
Oh, we ain't got a barrel of money.
Thinking. No address, no phone number. And chicks dig the uniform shit. So we're like shooting fish in a barrel.
Actually, I don't think you're going to be shooting any fish in this particular barrel.
All the monks had him do was slap water in a barrel for a year.
Well, we don't have a year. There's a barrel of Dornish wine on the sledge. Bring it in here. Yes, Commander.
Can you use my son as skitter bait?
They were boxed in, man. It was fish in a barrel.
Yes, sir. We got 3 barrels full, 2 barrels of gasoline, 3 crates full of 30-weight oil, a whole mess of fan belts in the line.
Gap.
Gap. Gap. Gap.
Gap. But it would explain the time gap, and it would be easy.
Maybe she can fill in some gaps.
Okay, let's bring her in.
Rats, you guys.
I did find a gap in our timeline before the murder.
What do you mean?
Well, according to the parts, right? Simplest I having 1. So if we can fill in the gaps, the evolutionary gaps.
Excuse me? It's a slight gap between your 8 and 9.
If we bridge this gap, I can see you.
That's packing paper. It's used to fill the gap between the fuel and the blast cap on a pipe bomb when the bomb detonates.
Field to block our signals. It's more like a pulse. It's not a brick wall. There's gaps, okay?
I'm afraid not, but there is a 5-minute gap when Chambers is unaccounted for.
And we were just discussing how to combat the rising wage gap.
But I've got a computer back at the lab that I think will help fill in the gaps.
Thank you, Caitlin.
I've had to learn Cantonese to bridge the gap.
Cantonese?